Long ago, in a time when the land was wild and untamed, there lived a hunter who was notorious for his laziness and wickedness. Unlike the brave and skillful hunters who took pride in their craft, he was a man who preferred to do as little as possible, hoping that fortune would come to him without effort. He had no desire to brave the dangers of the wilderness, or to put in the hard work required to catch game. Instead, he would sit under the shade of a great tree, a tall, ancient baobab that stretched its branches to the sky, and gaze out over the grassy plains with a vacant stare. The sun beat down mercilessly, but he paid it no mind, for he was content to do nothing but watch others do the work for him. Below him, the grassy field was alive with activity. Springboks, the swift and graceful antelopes, grazed peacefully on the lush, green grasses. Their coats shimmered in the sunlight, and their delicate legs moved with a gentle, rhythmic rhythm as they fed. These animals were the pride of the plains, prized by many hunters for their speed and agility. The springboks moved in herds, always alert to any signs of danger, their sharp eyes scanning the horizon for threats. They were cautious creatures, always aware of the predators lurking nearby, yet they remained calm and trusting in their numbers and agility. The lazy hunter, however, paid little attention to the springbok's vigilance. His eyes simply followed their movements, wishing he could have a piece of meat without the effort of hunting. He longed for the taste of fresh, tender springbok meat, but lacked the courage, the skill, or the willingness to chase after them. Instead, he sat there, idly watching the animals feed, dreaming of a life where food would come to him effortlessly, without any risk or exertion. His stomach rumbled, but he refused to move, convinced that something would turn up, that luck might somehow favor him without him lifting a finger. Suddenly, a flicker of motion caught his attention. A flash of movement among the grasses drew his gaze, and he squinted, trying to see what it was. His eyes sharpened as he focused on a female cheetah, sleek and swift, moving with purpose and grace. She was a master of her craft, a predator built for speed and precision. She was hungrily searching for her own food, her keen eyes scanning the herd of springbok. Carefully, she singled out a lone springbok that had foolishly strayed away from the safety of its herd. Perhaps the springbok had been distracted by a patch of tender grass, or was simply too confident in its speed. Whatever the cause, the cheetah saw her opportunity in a sudden burst of power. The cheetah gathered her long, muscular legs beneath her and launched herself forward in a blur of motion. Her body stretched out, sleek and aerodynamic, as she pushed herself to the limits of her speed. The ground seemed to blur beneath her paws, and in the blink of an eye, she was upon her prey. The springbok, caught unaware, was no match for the cheetah's swift assault. With a quick, precise strike, the predator brought the springbok down, her claws digging into its flesh as she secured her catch. The springbok, startled and trembling, struggled for a moment before succumbing to her strength. The rest of the herd, sensing the danger, burst into a frantic dash, their powerful legs propelling them away from the predator. They raced across the plains, their hooves pounding the earth as they sought safety in distance. The cheetah, triumphant, dragged her freshly caught prey to the shade of a nearby tree, where she could rest and recover from her exertion. She was a picture of contentment, her body still tense from the chase, but her eyes gleaming with satisfaction. Her cubs, 3 adorable and lively cheetah kittens, waited patiently in the shade, their tiny bodies curled up in the cool grass. They watched their mother with admiration and eager anticipation, their eyes bright with curiosity and love. The lazy hunter, observing everything from his shaded perch, felt a twinge of envy. As he watched the mother, Cheetah, and her cubs, he longed for such a life where a predator's skill and instinct provided for the family, and where the young cubs would grow strong and healthy through their mother's hunting. He looked at the cubs with a mixture of admiration and greed, wishing that he could have such a fortunate and skilled hunter serve him instead of having to do the work himself. A wicked idea slowly took shape in his mind. If he could somehow steal one of the cheetah cubs, he thought he could train it to hunt for him, to bring him food without any effort on his part. The more he thought about it, the more convinced he became that this was the perfect plan. He would wait until the mother cheetah left her cubs to hunt at the waterhole. Then he would sneak in and take one of the little kittens. His lips curled into a wicked smile as he imagined how clever he would be, outsmarting both the animal and the traditions of his people. As the sun began to dip toward the horizon, casting a golden glow over the plains, the cheetah mother made her way to the water. She moved with quiet grace, her sleek body low to the ground, her sharp eyes alert for any signs of danger. She had to go to drink and to hunt for herself, leaving her cubs hidden safely in a thicket of bushes nearby. The hunter, meanwhile, saw his chance, his heart pounding with anticipation. He quickly grabbed his spear and hurried toward the bushes where the cubs had been hiding. He found the 3 tiny cheetah cubs, still young and unafraid, too innocent to understand the danger that lurked nearby. They lay close together, napping or simply resting, unaware of the wicked human approaching them. Without hesitation, the hunter reached out and carefully selected one cub, then another, then reconsidered and decided to take them all. His greedy mind told him that if he took all 3, he could keep them, train them, and use them to hunt for himself. He thought he could teach them to be his loyal servants, to bring him meat and chase away any enemies that dared approach. In his greed and wickedness, he snatched the 3 tiny cubs from their hiding place, clutching them roughly in his arms. The mother cheetah returned just as he was about to leave, her sharp eyes immediately sensing that her cubs were gone. Her cry was a heartbreaking sound, piercing and full of despair. She ran to the place where she had left her babies, only to find that they had been stolen. Her body trembled with grief, and her voice rose in anguish as she called out for her lost children. She searched desperately, sniffing the ground and calling their names, but the hunter had already disappeared into the distance, carrying away her precious cubs. The mother cheetah's cries echoed across the plains, a sound that touched the hearts of all who heard it. She searched day and night, her tears falling like rain as she desperately hoped to find her young ones safe and sound. Her grief was boundless, and her sorrow deepened with each passing hour. She refused to give up, driven by maternal love and fierce longing to be reunited with her cubs. As her search continued, she met an old man known in the land for his wisdom and understanding of animals. The old man was a gentle soul, someone who knew the ways of the wilderness and the creatures living within it. When he saw the cheetah's distress and heard her heartbreaking cry, he approached her with kindness and concern. Carefully, he listened as she explained what had happened, the theft, the loss, the grief that engulfed her. When he learned of the wicked hunter's deed, his face grew stern with anger. He understood that the hunter's actions were not only cruel but also a violation of the sacred traditions of the land. In their culture, hunting was meant to be a skill passed down through generations, a respect for the animals and the land that sustained them. The hunter's wickedness, his laziness disguised as cunning, was a dishonor not only to himself but to all who valued the harmony of their world. The old man was furious that someone would steal from the animals and break the sacred codes that kept their land in balance. He returned to the village to inform the elders of what had transpired. His words were serious and filled with concern. The elders listened carefully and, upon hearing the story, became angry too. They saw that the wicked hunters' greed and laziness had caused great harm. They recognized that such dishonorable actions could upset the balance of nature and dishonor their traditions. As a result, they decided that he must be punished and driven away from the village, for he had broken the sacred laws that bound their community together. Meanwhile, the old man took it upon himself to find the cheetah mother and return her stolen cubs. He traveled across the plains and through the thickets, following the faint scent of the young cheetahs and listening for her calls. Eventually, he found her in a state of despair, her body trembling with grief. Gently, he handed over the 3 cubs, who wiggled and squeaked in his hands with innocent curiosity. The mother cheetah's eyes lit up with relief and gratitude when she saw her babies return to her. She nuzzled them lovingly, her tears of sorrow turning into tears of joy. The old man's act of kindness and wisdom restored some balance to the land, reminding everyone of the importance of respecting all creatures and honoring the traditions that kept their world in harmony. The villagers learned a valuable lesson about the dangers of laziness and greed, and about the importance of using one's own strength and skill in the pursuit of sustenance. The wicked hunter, having been cast out for his dishonorable deeds, disappeared into the wilderness, his heart heavy with regret. From that day forward, the land remained peaceful and the animals thrived. The cheetah mother watched over her cubs with renewed vigilance, teaching them the ways of the wild. The villagers, too, remembered the old man's wisdom and the lesson that true strength came from effort, respect, and honor. And the lazy hunter, having learned that true reward comes only through hard work, kept his distance from the animals and their sacred ways, knowing that he had lost more than just his place in the village. He had lost his chance to be a true hunter and a true part of the land's harmony.